Hello and welcome to Opening the Gates to More Listings for Estate Agents with me, Simon Gates, and I'm delighted to be joined today by Mr. Jamie Minors. Jamie, thanks very much for joining me.
Thanks for having me on, Simon. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. And first of all, I appreciate the effort you've made to come here all the way from Norfolk, so thank you.
No problem.
So, when you were last on the podcast, it was August 2024, episode 126. Probably about 200 episodes and 2 years ago. So, what's changed for you in that time, 2 years on?
Cool. What's changed? We've opened in Diss, we've opened in Bury St Edmunds, we've acquired a new headquarters, we've acquired the remaining shares in our mortgage business, we've acquired some lettings firms. Yeah, quite a bit to be fair.
Okay, well, that is a lot. Let's talk about the acquisition side of things actually, because that's quite a hot topic. I don't think a day goes by where there's not something in the industry press where businesses are being bought or sold. So what's that been like, the acquisition side of things, and what advice would you give to anyone who's looking to acquire at the moment or exit? Like, what does a good business look like that you're purchasing?
I mean, that probably wants an hour by itself, but I think the first thing to consider is your roadmap as a business. So what are you actually trying to achieve? Are you just trying to acquire a business because other people are acquiring? Or are you actually trying to acquire a business because it aligns with the strategy that you want to play out as a business? So if you're an estate agency firm trying to bulk up your lettings book because you're considering an exit, or you want a more guaranteed form of income for when the economy has its ebbs and flows, then strategically it can make sense to then go and acquire some of the lettings books. But you'll find a lot of businesses are following trends that don't align with what they actually want. Yeah. And there's a massive mismatch there, a huge. And that goes for most people's actual lifestyles. We're following other people's social media, we're following other people's goals without actually understanding, what do we want, what's right for us, and does the thing which we're trying to do actually align with our roadmap? And I'd say in most people's careers right now that there's a massive mismatch in that. And in the acquisition space, hugely.
Okay, interesting. And what are, like, when you do go acquire businesses, what are like the mistakes you see or the blind spots within those businesses that they could improve on?
I would say it stems from the person going into the deal. Are they overly desperate and optimistic to do a deal? The moment you become overly desperate to do the deal, you lose control. If you lose control, then you lose sight of correctly checking due diligence, actually asking the right questions about staff numbers, considering TUPE. Yeah. And I'd say that the more desperate you are internally to do the deal, the more mistakes you're going to make.
Okay. And in terms of a business of your size, you were saying before we hit record, you're now at 135 people across your businesses. And I am now going to date this podcast because I think half an hour or an hour before we hit record, Keir Starmer has announced his resignation. What has it been like in the past couple of years since we hit record in that first episode of running a business under this government? Yeah,
there's definitely been uncertainty, but there's always going to be uncertainty. And if you are somebody that relies upon external factors to give you confidence, you're already in trouble. I talk a lot about mindset, the right headspace, ensuring that regardless of the external factors, we're in control, we've got a plan, and we still charge forwards towards our goals. If you're relying upon a good economy constantly, or you're relying upon stability in the UK economy, you've not got many good years to actually do what you want to do. So regardless of tax changes, regardless of the man in charge, there is always an opportunity, particularly in the property sector, to move forwards, to open branches, to acquire businesses, and to make pivots within your industry, whether that's from sales to lettings, lettings to sales. From our case, it was to expand lettings more aggressively and then to acquire a mortgage business. Regardless of the noise with what the Prime Minister does or doesn't do, there's still great opportunity out there. So has it been harder? Comparatively, no. There's more noise externally, but internally, as a group, that doesn't scratch the surface.
In terms of that noise, this is the first time we've ever met each other in person. We've had obviously conversations online and we've recorded the podcast before, but from the outside looking in, you certainly struck me as someone who just switches off to noise outside. And I can imagine that's a great place to be for your 100+ people, where you've got a leader at the front being like ignore what's going on there. We can only control the controllables, get on with it. Whereas I see so many businesses where the leader walks in going, oh, for God's sake, like this has happened, this has happened, this has happened, and it's that like mood hoover to everyone else involved in the business.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not naive to looking at what's happening around me, and I will think of the ramifications and the effects that thing will have, but it's not that we're controlled by it. So, for example, Keir Starmer going today, what could that mean? It could mean that Burnham comes in, and it could then mean that land tax goes up and stamp duty gets abolished.
Yeah.
That's one of the policies that he's considering, that he spoke about actually as recently as June.
Yeah.
So it's a recent policy he's considering. What could that mean? Well, it could mean more property transactions, but it isn't today. So we've understood the context. It doesn't affect us today. It's a distraction. Head down, focus on what we need to do.
Yeah.
Service customers, speak to people, book in viewings, book in MAs, get offers on the table, negotiate the offers, do the deals.
Yeah.
The more we divert via a different pathway, the more time we've wasted.
Agreed. So in terms of what you've said so far and all the other value you're going to be giving this episode, I just want to share with the listeners and those watching why they should be paying attention to what Mr. Minors is saying. So
Jamie's fine. Mr. Minors sounds really posh.
Of course. So I went on to 20EA this morning and went back to January 2021, and it said that Minors Brady had listed 14,044 properties across the NR postcodes. You complete on 2,555 transactions each year. You register 1,600 buyers and tenants every single month. 4,400 sellers or landlords choose to sell or let with you each year. And you've got over 4,500 five-star reviews and counting.
A lot of numbers.
When you started back in, was it 2014?
2014, yeah, December.
Was this on the vision board to get
No.
here? No?
Absolutely not. No. Your goals have to realign to the person you are at that time and the person you want to become. Yeah. Early on, my goal was just to survive as a business and sell 5 houses a month and make sure that I didn't go bust and become another agent that everyone laughs at. Early on, it's can we survive? Can we keep going? And then in 2018, we expanded to the second branch. And then it becomes, can you duplicate that across more than one location, which has a lot of challenges, a lot of issues to sort of overcome going from 1 to 2. And then from there, can it become scalable? Which now, obviously, for us with 9 locations, it's proven it can be.
Which one's the toughest? Is it opening the first, going from 1 to 2, or has it been one of the more recent ones? What would you say is the toughest?
No, recently it's easy, like genuinely easy. I mean, our recent branch in Bury St Edmunds, I didn't even view. My head of ops did. He sent me a few pictures. And I said, look, just consider these 5 things. He has done. Come back to me. Great. He negotiated the deal. He worked with our head of marketing to create all the interior. And I pretty much saw it as we opened. So, like, I compare that to my first branch where I'm stressing out over every single thing and every single penny. But back then I had no cash flow, I had no real set plan. And early on I was winging it, to be honest.
Is that not the right way to go though at the start? Because I feel like I say a lot of the whole, it shouldn't be ready, aim, fire. It should be ready, fire, aim. Like so many people have like most amazing logos on Canva and they've got these great systems and processes set up. And it's like, until you start doing some marketing and picking up the phone and actually generating leads into your business, it doesn't matter about all that stuff. You first of all got to prove that you can generate leads. So looking back now at all you've learned over the years, would you change anything, or was winging it the right way to go about things to get off the ground?
I would say the thing I would change about the journey is I would have worked on myself earlier. I would have worked on my mindset earlier. I would have worked on my habits. I would have worked on my structure, and I would have hired better people earlier and spent the money on the right people earlier. They're the key things looking back that really held back our own growth as a company was me. I wasn't in the right headspace. I wasn't the right person to take the company from where we were to where we are today. And I had to make those changes in my own life to then domino effect into my teams, to then hire the right people and then lure the right kind of caliber of person into the company. Like the person I am now can now recruit those people, but early on, those kind of A players may not have wanted to come on board.
Okay. What was like the moment, the switch where this Jamie first
2021.
appeared? Okay. What happened?
I would say the biggest change, my son being born. And ironically, if you look back at the 20 EA data, we've been the number one selling agent in Norfolk for 57 months in a row.
I see you post that every month. And I
every
love
month,
it.
consistently. Yeah, I'm proud of it.
Yeah.
But 57 months in a row. And the reason why it's so important to me as well is because that's the month my son was born. So in the build-up of my son being in my partner's tummy, all those changes started to happen at the same wave of when our company was getting better and better. And we opened our Norwich branch, I think, a week before my son was born.
And that was branch number?
5, maybe.
Okay,
yeah, 5.
Right, okay.
But I think about that time and I think our standards improved massively as a business, hugely. And I look to the people that I work with now about changing their mindset, having better structure, aligning with their values and goals. They get better far more quickly. Their numbers go up, their sales improve, their listings go up, their fees go up.
Yeah.
All of their results are a byproduct of who they are and their character. And that's the one thing that, if looking back, I would change as a business for sure.
Because you strike me as someone who, you're clearly super talented. You wouldn't have got as far as you have without some talent at the start. You clearly have worked incredibly hard. Mm-hmm. But when I was in Ireland last week, Roger Black and Steve Backley, Olympians, were saying people are at the Olympics because they're probably born with a certain degree of talent. Mm-hmm. They've kind of won the birth lottery. They've clearly worked very hard to get to the Olympics. You've got to do 4 years of hard graft. But it's like the difference of standing on the podium or not, it's all up there. It's in the mindset. And I think that's what you were alluding to there. Like from, again, the outside looking in, when I look at your social media, when you're doing your crazy mad running stuff that you do to France recently and ultras and stuff, I'm just like, God, that guy's mindset is insane.
Yeah, it stems from the mind. But you doing this today stems from your headspace. Everything the whole studio came from someone's mind. Someone thought about making a camera. Someone thought about making a studio. The guy behind here who's sitting here quietly, he built the studio. His physical body did the work, but his mind did the work first. He visualized it, he thought about it, he debated it, he analyzed it, and then the input created the output. You having your podcast, yes, you have to physically do it, but it all stems from your intrinsic work rate, which stems from the mind. Every single thing stems from the headspace. So if we can get that right, that's the core foundation, we can get everything else right.
So in terms of the mind there, we're in a world now where we can't go to a conference without it being like rammed down our throats, AI, AI, AI. So let's talk about the importance of mind and human interaction in 2026 and the next decade with all this AI talk out there.
Look, AI definitely has its place, and I like AI. I like the use of it, and I like the benefits that I think it will bring to the industry. But the proportion in which we're focusing on AI versus the proportion of still what does deals, there's a complete and utter mismatch again. I open my phone, everyone's talking about AI, everything is about AI. Okay, well, AI, do this deal, sell this house. Right now it can't. Well, who does? Humans.
Yeah.
And what are the core principles of a human? Mind, body, character, soul, work rate. So we're not naive to the fact AI will make massive changes, but actually if we can hire the right people, train them, retain them, motivate them, give them purpose, make sure they work collaboratively as a tribe, they will go and do great results in any area in the country.
You talk about that tribe there, again from the outside looking in. I've spent no time with your business, but from observing on social media, it really looks like you've got a great tribe and a culture there. So how do you create and maintain that? Because I've been in lots of businesses where you walk in, you're like, oh my God, like who killed the office dog or cat or something? Like, it's brutal. So how are you doing that?
We do have those days, every day is perfect.
Yeah.
But you look at our company and people are buying houses together. People are moving in together. Relationships are formed. People are going away on weddings and holidays together, and they've all met through the company. And I think that when you hire A players who work with A players, they find their people. They find people that are committed. They find people that want to work as part of a team. They find people they can trust. They find people with similar humour. And before you know it, they become like best friends. So it's more of a community, but all of that stems from, are we hiring the right people? And sometimes we get it wrong, and we have got it wrong recently, on a couple of hires. And are those people coming on board, do they match the same values as the people that we have working within the business? And if you get those things right, based on the department or the team or the area you're operating in, they just become a complete and utter tribe. And they go out together on a Friday and Saturday, and they invite each other to, as I said, birthdays and weddings. And before you know it, they're no longer a colleague, they're a really good friend.
Yeah.
And what happens? You want to help your teammate out in the branch. You want to deal with their offer. You want to deal with their vendor. You want to help out with a complaint that they've had that maybe you can help solve. And suddenly a estate agency doesn't become a dog v dog, it becomes an us mentality.
Yeah. So on that point, there's something you said earlier about not being naive. So that you're not going to be naive to the growth of self-employed estate agency, and you're a more traditional outfit. You're talking about having these A players. Surely there's going to be self-employed models out there in their ears saying, come over here, come over here, etc. So how are you giving that vision of growth for those people to grow within the business rather than get swept up in the tidal wave, which is self-employed estate agency at the moment?
Yeah, great question. But I think self-employed estate agency, from what I've seen, largely is lacking good training, and it's lacking good tribe mentality. From what I've seen, it's because I've actually consulted for self-employed agents who are part of a bigger brand, who tell me not the best training. Once you're onboarded, you're sort of left to it a bit, and they miss that in-person togetherness. So I think for some people that will work, but there'll still be a large proportion of people that just doesn't work for in the UK.
Yeah.
Within our business, we've got an EMI scheme.
Okay.
So we've effectively given 5 people shares within the business, and every 3 years we'll review that. So if more and more people are at that standard where they deserve shares in the business, then they'll be elected for an EMI scheme.
Is that common practice in our...
No.
I was going to say, not really hearing.
No.
Sorry to interrupt. Just a quick one. Digital Sparks is delighted to sponsor this podcast and proud to support one of the most respected voices in the industry. We help estate agents and property professionals become the most visible name in their market through done-for-you video content. Strategy, scripts, filming, editing, and posting, all taken care of. Now back to the podcast.
Yeah. I've heard, like I said to you when we were having coffee this morning, I go to loads of different events here from lots of different speakers. Some I really like and I agree with a lot of what they say, but then also somewhere I'm like, I don't agree with everything they say, but I want to go see them in person because I want to expand my mind, not just, be in that algorithm of just kept getting fed the things we already believe. And I'll use Simon Squibb as an example, because Simon Squibb is very anti-property market. But on the flip side, he's saying about give your people in your business equity in it. Help them grow.
Agreed.
Get them involved in the business so that they're part of it.
Agreed. Profit bonuses, we sit down with the right people, we sit down and look at P&L, we show them the numbers, we show them where we can make improvements, we show them where reinvestment has gone. There are various bonuses throughout the year that the senior team can get. And then the ones that are committed and are there and doing the results day in, day out, year in, year out, they're the ones that have then effectively earned the right to have shares in the business. So 5 people right now have now got shares in Minors Brady, which is something we promised them years ago if they stuck at it and they were loyal and they were committed.
So that's a key thing there in terms of, and you said, and I'm conscious of what I want to share here. I know you're an open book, but you said something in when we were having a coffee earlier, and I truly, truly believed you when you said you're a man of your word. You look someone in the eye, you shake their hand, you do it.
100%.
And I've been in a couple of positions in my career where you've been promised something, the carrot's dangled, and then it doesn't happen. And then I'm pissed off at that. So I think that's hearing what you've just been saying, I'm like, God, that's a business I wish I worked in when I was an agent.
So you answer your question, how can we keep those great people? Because there are people right now who have got some of these shares that could, in theory, go and set up their own business. But you need a lot of money to do it. You then need 10 years worth of momentum. You're no longer working every day with your best mates. You're no longer working with the standards that you want to work at because you've only got you and one other.
Yeah.
Even if I have times out of the business where I have like a month out or a couple of weeks out for holidays and then other things, the A players are like itching for us to get back in a room together because they want to be around that level of standard.
Yeah.
So I think, yes, there is room for self-employed agency, but again, let's not be naive and think that that's the be-all end-all. That's an echo chamber that a lot of self-employed agents are in because that's what they want, but not everyone wants that. Some people love being part of a team.
Yeah, it's not very, like I guess I have a mix where I'm on the road doing things like this, going and seeing estate agents in their offices, and then I sit at home in my office / spare bedroom. I need to get an epic office like I've seen you have over the years. When I move house away from my actual house.
Your environment is imperative.
100%. But I like that. My office at home, I absolutely love, and I do love my own space. That I really enjoy deep work on my own. And then I come across people that are like, they go self-employed. And then they're like, oh yeah, I can't get out of my pajamas. I'm like, what is wrong with you? Oh, I need that structure to be back in office. I'm like, what is going on here? How have you not got that discipline? You mentioned about the lack of training. And I know training is something you're huge on at Minors Brady. Again,
Massive.
I've seen on socials, like monthly training day, whatever. You've got the whole team around there. You've got a big screen and stuff. So at the moment, like, what does training look like to make sure that you're continuously raising the standards at Minors Brady?
Yeah, so the first thing is we made a massive move in our company, which even now looking back was one of our best decisions, but it was a bold decision that could have gone the other way. We took one of our best sales directors who had banked 3 million in his branch over 2 years and took him out of running a branch and out of selling.
Was that your idea or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because we wanted to hire more people, train more people, and raise the level of everyone's skill set within the company. We needed an internal trainer. And I knew there was other things I wanted to do, not just with Minors and Brady, but other businesses and other ventures I have. So we were like, right, well, let's find the best person at that within the company, which was our best person, and take him out of a selling role and have him be a director of people. So he now hires, trains, retains, onboards people, puts them through a training program, and then we'll do for various parts of the business training sessions segmented into negs, seniors, managers, etc. And it's worked amazingly well. Standards have risen, buy-in has risen, retention of the right people has risen because these people are getting personal growth and skill set of our industry from someone who's been in the company for 9 years.
And then let's say outside of your organisation, from the agents you observe, come into contact, etc. What are the key things where standards need raising at the moment in agency?
Focus. Focus is the worst.
Okay.
People are answering calls whilst scrolling Instagram and wonder why they can't close for more viewings because they can't hear the customer because they're trying to multitask, which is impossible. Agents that are not present, they're somewhere else mentally, they're not focused on what they need to do. So focus, I would say, is one of the biggest problems in all industries, but particularly in our industry is a problem, massive problem. I'll tell you a quick example. One of my branches was underperforming and a lady in there was a recent branch manager. They were doing well below target. And we spoke about time, energy, focus, work rate. And one thing she changed was she got everyone's phones and locked them in a drawer throughout the day. 5 months later, she's now top of the leaderboards. Her branch is now top of the leaderboards.
Yeah.
Yes, they can do more outbound. Yes, they can book more appraisals. Yes, they can deal with more offers, but all of that stems from work rate and focus.
We've got everything and everyone trying to steal our attention, haven't we, in the world we now live in? And I don't mind admitting this, but it's like, I'll go on my phone, let's say, I'll go on to Monzo to, I don't know, send some money.
Yeah.
And I've gone on to send some money. I literally did this yesterday. Gone on to send money and I've gone, oh, look. And then I'm like 5 minutes later, I'm like, wait, what was I on my phone for?
Yeah.
It's like, when I'm doing that deep work in my office, there is no need for my phone to be in my office. Like, just leave it on charge in a bedroom or something. Yeah, I've got it there, and then it's pinging. It's like one of the best things you can have on a computer or a phone is do not disturb or airplane mode.
It's like I was doing some consultancy for an agent in the country, and when we delve into their business, it's very, very clear they're struggling to self-generate appraisals, valuations. But a lot of our discussions are around everything else. You know, the guy is a really great guy, but he wants to talk about his marketing. He wants to talk about a new business idea or a new office. Well, actually, let's laser focus on the very thing we know is going to create the domino effect for everything else. How are we going to self-generate new valuations? Where are we going to find them? When are we actually working directly on those things? Laser focus, I think, is one of the biggest issues in our industry.
Yeah, I've heard the phrase a lot, magpie syndrome, in our industry, and we're like, it's constantly the next new shiny prop tech toy. Yeah, I'll go use that. And when I was at Home Search, you'd get an agent come along and go, I've used this product. Yeah, hasn't worked. I'm like, you've not utilized it enough. You've not stayed consistent. You're not focused enough to get a result out of it. You've just probably signed up to something and then gone, oh, look over here, got distracted by something else. And then when the bill comes in after 6 months, you're like, oh shit, I'm going to cancel that and then go again.
I did this in my personal journey when I was trying to get fitter early on, and I was doing loads of ice baths, and I couldn't work out why I wasn't getting fitter. Funnily enough, ice baths wasn't going to help that. I needed to run more, I needed to eat better, and I needed longer sleep.
Okay.
I was distracted by the new gimmick and the new thing.
I was just thinking, yeah.
And I've now gone back to the basics of what actually needs to happen to improve that particular thing. In a estate agency, we're too focused on AI, we're too focused on this new tech, we're too focused on something new and glitz that's going to fix all the problems. Let's actually speak to customers. Let's actually understand who wants to buy and who wants to sell in our marketplace. Let's actually have a great relationship with them.
So on the fitness side of things, when did you really start taking fitness seriously?
I think that's a broader question when I started taking my own self-care more seriously, but that was from having my son and knowing that I wanted to be someone that I can make my son proud of. And I wanted to be someone that my son can follow and emulate and actually say, yeah, you know, my dad's in good shape and my dad can do X, Y, Z and my dad's present.
Sports day dad's race.
I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to that.
How long you got to go to that?
He starts school in September, but he came to my ultra last weekend, and that was 90 plus miles.
He did a finish line with you?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, but he crewed me. So every time I went round, it was an 8K loop, he was then giving me some food and water and,
nice.
You know, Daddy, why are you still running? And it's like, mate, we do hard things.
So that's really important to you to instill that into your boys from a young age. So I saw you, I think, on an Instagram story. I don't know exactly what you're doing. I don't know if you're mowing the grass or something. And you'd said, like, I think a bit tongue in cheek, but no silver spoon around here or something.
No silver spoon kids in my household, that's for sure. Yeah, he lives in a lovely house. We've got a nice home. I'm cutting the grass. You know, he's out with a mop and he's trying to sweep the patio. Not doing a great job, but at least he's putting the effort in.
Yeah, fair. So you've mentioned a lot about people. You'd said head of operations, head of people. When we're having a coffee, you spoke about a PA. You clearly are, I would say, very good at delegating, surround yourself with very good people. Mm-hmm. So many estate agents suffer with that. We're, again, chatting over the coffee where everyone thinks that they're the best at something and founder mentality and they don't delegate. So for anyone listening or watching this who's struggling with that, what advice would you give to them to sort of let go and try and delegate to people?
Most of the best people are control freaks. I was a control freak, completely and utterly. And it's a belief we all have. Only we can do it better. Only we're the best at it. No one can do it like we can do it. And it's just not true. Black and white, it's just not true. There are better people out there to do the thing you want to do in a particular segment of your business. So we've got head of marketing. She's absolutely better than me at marketing.
Yeah, your marketing is amazing.
Thanks, mate. But the first 3 people we had prior to her were not better than me at marketing. We hired wrong. My head of ops is a better head of ops than me, but the people we had before were probably not better than me. So it's a people issue and a recruitment issue and a training issue as to why we don't have that person doing that job. Like I don't have a single key to any of our 9 branches, something that people find really funny.
Yeah.
I have the
Do you
best
have a key to your own house?
It's funny you say that. I haven't for the last few weeks, but I do now.
Okay. I thought you were about to say 'cause you have like thumb technology or something.
No. Sarah, she's often at home, so yeah, I'm not good with keys.
Okay. So on the getting people who are better than you at various things, at the start, is it like, would you say it's an ego thing as well? Like, well, no one's going to do that better than me.
No.
It's not an ego thing.
People think it's an ego thing, but it's not. It's a fear thing.
Okay, interesting.
Fear of someone getting it wrong, fear of someone cocking it up, fear of the customer being upset, fear of losing business. It's all based on fear.
Okay.
Fear is the issue for sure.
Okay.
Even if it reverts to ego, it's a fear that I won't be the best at this thing anymore. It all stems from fear. So if we can manage that fear and say, okay, if I take this person on board, are the roles and responsibilities for that person clear enough for them to do the job? Is there clarity? Second part, is there competence? Meaning, does that person have the skill set to be able to do that job? And the third is consequence. Are they aware of the positive or the negative outcome of what will happen if that job is done correctly? Clarity, competence, consequence. And generally, if we're delegating tasks to someone, we make it really, really clear. Mm-hmm. We make sure they're the right person, and we explain the outcome. If that fails, we have failed because we hired that person to do that job. So we either haven't been clear with the job, we haven't made sure they're competent or trained them, and we haven't properly educated on the consequence, both good or bad. And if you can get those things right, like you have in my business, I think we've got it really, really well at the moment. We've got great heads of departments doing an amazing job. I'm here on a Monday in London. I'm not even concerned over my phone. I know my team have got it nailed.
So I was pleasantly surprised when I reached out to you and said, hey mate, I've got a studio day to record podcast, love to get you back on. And you went, yeah, sweet, arrange with PA, done. I was just thinking he's going to be the busiest guy in the world. He'd be like, sorry mate, I'd love to, but the diary is chock-a-block. But because you're using your time effectively, surrounding yourself with the right people, delegating, etc., it's allowed you to do exactly what you just
You caught me on a good day. You caught me on a good day, Simon. No, there are parts of my monthly structure where I'm back to back, and if it would have fallen on one of those days, we couldn't have done it. But I think founders and business owners have a mentality where work rate is phenomenal, but if you're already booked up going into that week, you're in trouble. You're in trouble. You haven't allowed any space to react to problems, to pivot, to fix things. So if you're a business owner today and you're going into your week on a Monday and your week is already fully booked, you're already going to see some problems because you're going to be in back-to-back meetings when that massive problem kicks up and you have no brain space and no energy to deal with it. So you hope someone in your team is available, or if not, you need to make sure you're available to deal with that particular thing.
So whilst I'm a solo operator, it's like you were talking directly at me.
I am triggering you. You're triggered.
Well, the conversation we were just having before we hit record, where I've been here, there, and everywhere, and I think again we said it when we're having a coffee. I can kind of be I can be selfish at the moment where I don't have children yet, and I'm like, well, I'm loving like my career and super busy in the week. I'm like, I'll catch up at the weekend, but that's a dangerous place to be, and I've felt myself like the energy levels reducing over time as I've been really, really busy. So needing to make a switch on it, which is, one of the reasons I record this podcast, for a very selfish reason, is to interview high performing people and try and take the best bits and pieces from all of them to try and improve myself along with
and what a great place to be in that you've worked hard to be in. So
yeah. Right, we're coming towards the end of the podcast. So I don't think when we did the podcast before, I had the closing tradition at that time where I completely rip off Stephen Bartlett. Did we? I
don't think so.
Okay, so we'll coming on to that in a second. But before that, I've got this new thing. So my girlfriend had been away on a business trip and she got given these cards, and it's called The Impossible Decisions, The Little Game of Big Choices.
Okay.
So it's kind of a would you rather. So let's try and get some of these out and test you on these. So these could be like really tongue-in-cheek or they could be quite serious. I know I asked that on another episode recently, so let's hear it.
Right,
Right,
we're not going to spin the bottle, are we? bit weird in this studio.
that's for later.
Oh, right, yeah.
Let's get the others as well. Right, would you rather? It's quite ironic considering a conversation we had earlier. Would you rather find 100 spiders in your room or one tiger?
Oh, tiger would be interesting.
You've got one in your garden, haven't you?
Yeah, so my son thinks. A tiger would be interesting.
Okay.
I mean, I'd be a bit worried about dying, but yeah, that'd be interesting.
Okay.
I'd have a tiger.
Would you rather have a pet dragon the size of a cat or a pet cat the size of a dragon?
Definitely a pet dragon. More interesting.
Okay.
And cats I don't like. Cats are arrogant and selfish. They're not team players.
Yeah,
Are you a cat man?
No, I should have probably measured this when I was an agent, but I can guarantee my conversion rate in the living room when they had dogs was a lot higher. When they had cats, probably a lot lower.
You couldn't fake it. You didn't like the cats.
Nah, didn't like it. And just, I would say on a disc profile, definitely dog owners are more my people than cat owners.
Definitely dog owners.
Sorry to any cat owners out there, I've just offended. Would you rather be able to breathe underwater or walk through fire?
Breathe underwater. I'm trying to train for an Ironman, and currently breathing underwater is like the hardest thing. Breathing out correctly. So yeah, definitely breathe underwater. That would help me.
Would you rather get paper cuts every time you touch paper or burn your tongue every time you eat something?
Paper cuts, because I don't use much paper.
That's easy. You got remarkable.
Got remarkable. Have to use that.
Would you rather have hiccups for the rest of your life or always feel you're about to sneeze?
Oh, neither are enjoyable, are they?
Feels quite good sneezing, doesn't it? Oh, you got hay fever though, so.
What do they say? If you get 8, I'll take the hiccups.
Okay. Right, last one on this. Would you rather have to wake up at dawn every day? Well, I already know what you're going to answer this. Would you rather have to wake up at dawn every day or have to stay up until 3 a.m. every day?
Say again.
Would you rather have to wake up at dawn every day or have to stay up until 3 a.m. every day?
Dawn every day.
You're an early riser, aren't you?
Yeah, it'll be fine.
And I assume you're in the camp of when people say they're not a morning person, that's bullshit.
Complete bullshit.
Yeah.
It's a belief system that they've got that needs working on.
So
it's just a belief system.
When it's the middle of winter, it's dark, rainy, cold, miserable, and the alarm goes off at 5 a.m. It's like, oh, for God's sake. Yeah, if it's going off at 5 a.m. and you're going on a flight to Barbados, you're jumping out of bed, right?
The morning person thing is just someone's belief system. It has nothing to do with their own like internal like characteristics or genetics. It purely is just in their headspace for sure.
Okay. So do you know what's coming with this?
No.
So on Stephen Bartlett's podcast, he gets the last guest to ask the next guest a question, not knowing who they are. And then Stephen has very cleverly, with his media business, monetized the shit out of it. So people like me buy these boxes of cards. So I'm going to ask you one of these questions.
Proper consumer.
So I'm a marketer's dream. So they have different levels, one being chilled, like what we just had, and 3 being very serious, and you've pulled out number 3.
Yeah, let's go serious.
So
deep conversation.
The question I want you to answer is, if you found out that the world was ending in 10 minutes, who would you want to speak to and what would you tell them?
I'd love to speak to my mother, who's no longer here. So if that was an option somehow, I'd love to talk to her. She passed away about 7 years ago, but I still think about her, most days, and I'd love for her to meet my kids. But I would then call my kids on a quick Zoom call, tell them I love them, tell them that it'll all be okay, and whatever happens, happens, and just to do it with a smile.
Nice, love that. So before we sign off, for any agents listening or watching this, if you have one final message for them as to what they should be thinking right now to have a fantastic second half of 2026, what would Jamie Minors' message be?
I would say they need to build a purpose statement. A purpose statement is who they are, what they're doing, what they're trying to achieve, and who they want to become. Once they've built that, read it every single day, morning and night, and then make sure their daily habits align with that purpose statement and try to delete all the noise around you and any other distraction. And if you can get that right, you'll absolutely smash the remaining part of 2026.
Love that. Thank you very much, Shane, for being an amazing guest.
Thank you, mate.
For everyone at home listening and watching, remember, like, review, subscribe, follow, share, and I'll see you on the next episode.